In this video, I'm going to make a smudge wand, or the way I make smudge wands. They don't look as beautiful as the ones that they sell in the stores, but they're mine. I hand make them. Women tend to have them. They look beautiful. Mine just look like a hot mess, but they work. So anyways, here, this is rosemary from my garden. I have garden sage, and if you can see, it's starting to dry out. So I'm going to save these bottoms and burn them. But this is garden sage. And here we have some lavender. Also was drying out, so I said, let me wrap them up together and make a smudge wand. To this, I'm going to also use just any type of string. This is the string that you can get at a Hispanic bodega. They cost like around $1. But you can use any. Some people use yarn, but again, I'm using rosemary, romero, sage, and lavender for this smudging wand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my rosemary with some scissors here in the bottom and gather them. The same thing with my sage. My lavanda, which is good for purification and healing. Here's my sage, which is salvia or sabio. Sabio in Spanish means wise, so a lot of people call it the wise plant. And here's my romero, my rosemary. Romero also good for purification, exorcism. So all these three plants would make a perfect what do you call it, a wand, a smudging wand. Now don't throw away, this is some of my sage. This is some of my sage that, where it's in the bottom. Don't throw it away. A lot of people say you're working on your kitchen table. Yes, a lot of Latino brujos, we do work on our kitchen table. Take your, the dried ones and just burn them. Okay, save them. Save them, burn them, and you can burn them on a little pan like this, and you can smudge and purify the house. Okay, so this is an incense burner. Don't throw those dried ones out. And you can see that I have it so that I can purify. So don't throw all those strips away. Those can be used for purifying, cleansing. You can use it on a little pot, any little pot. So again, don't throw these away. Okay, save them. See how nice they burn? They burn nice, and they purify the house, they cleanse. And they're cleansing the area of where I'm going to work. I'm working on my dining room table. If you go to a lot of Latinos' houses, the dining room table is one of the greatest altars. That's where it's our workspace. Okay, we were limited with space, so the kitchen is where we do most of our brujeria, we do most of our spiritual works, our trabajo espirituales, not just in the Caribbean traditions, but a lot in the Southern traditions. We were limited in space, so we used what we had. So again, don't throw those little, see how it's burning nicely? Don't throw those away. Save them, and then you have automatically, you can sage and purify the area where you're working. How I'm going to tie my smudging wands is I'm going to tie them by where the root would grow, that way. So this would be the bottom and this would be the top. So I want to make sure that I gather all my herbs and that I have it facing. See that? So that when I put them together, it's going to be the part where I cut down. This is where it's going to be the base of my wand, my smudging wand. See that? And I'm going to wrap them together just like that, and then just tie them with this string. Okay, it's good to use fresh herbs. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to start drying them out in the window, and you can have your own smudging sticks. Smudging sticks can go from $3 to $5 in a store, for a smudging wand. This plant was very small. This is my rosemary. It was small, and I grew in the summer. Cost me like $3 at Walmart. The sage the same. The lavender around the same price, $2-3, and I grew them in the summer, and then I saved them to make purifying sage wands. Over here that the sage is still burning in my pot. So what I'm doing is the loose leaves are just still burning. So I'm still purifying the area that I'm working in. Okay, just purifying, exercising, removing any negative vibrations. You can, purchase a little pot like this, very affordable. Or you can make one from a tuna can or an old can and add, chains. Chains are very affordable. A lot of people are, they create what they can, what they can't find, you can create. These are just abundance everywhere in Massachusetts. You can pretty much find burners everywhere in Massachusetts, but you can make your own with a can and 3 little chains if you're gifted at that. But like I said, don't throw away those little ends, because you can use them to smudge the area that you're working, to purify the area that you're working, and it throws a nice smoke. It relaxes, it calms you down. So yes, here I am working in the kitchen table, where a lot of brujos, we often do work. When we're making our herbal, everything. Most of our jobs, most of our spiritual work happens in the kitchen, in la cocina. That's where a lot of the la magia, la brujeria happens, of different sorts. The string, I did 2 knots. I did 1 knot in the front and 1 knot in the back, and I used this string. And what I'm going to do is I tied a knot. I think I use around 12. I'd say like 12 feet of the rope. And what I'm going to do is I did a knot in one side, and then I brought the ropes to the front, and then I did a knot. And now I'm going to go, overlap them and tie them very tightly, so that it's pretty much grasping it, so that you don't get any of the leaves. And this is how we're going to dry our wands. I still have enough. I'll probably make a bigger one. I'm not sure yet, but let's see. But yeah, just you want to tie 2 knots, 1 in the front, then tie another knot in the back, and then overlap the strings and keep tightening, weaving it so that all the herbs are gathered and nice and tightly to make your own wands. This is not going to be a beautiful one. I'm not that, I've seen people who make some beautiful wands. Mine's come out okay, but this is just the basics until you learn how to make them. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how I make my smudging wands. Okay, so here's my first sage wand. It kind of looks like a tamale, and like I said, it doesn't have to be beautiful. But what it does have to be is nice and tight. So when you're wrapping it, you got to make sure that you tighten it as tight as you can. Remember that right now it has water, but as soon as the water starts drying out, your plants will start to shrink, or it will. So you want to make sure it's nice and tight. This is the first wand. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip any loose ends with scissors. So I'm going to make 1 more. Okay, and there is a smudging wand. Right now it's still wet, it's got dry, but this is a smudging wand with rosemary, sage, and lavender for purifying, cleansing. And right now I have 1 just handmade. I could probably make 3, and these in shops alone cost like $5. But you don't know. This is, you're making it, you're giving it your energy. So it's better to make it yourself. So I'm going to make 1 more. I could probably make 2 more, but I'm going to make a thicker one, and let's see. And then I'm going to snip it with scissors. Just snip any loose ends that I don't want, clean it up, give it a nice haircut. It smells good as it is. So here are my sage wands. And what I'm going to do now, they don't look as professional or as beautiful. This one's a thick one. They don't look as beautiful or as professional as the ones that they sell in the stores, but they do the same thing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the scissor and I'm going to clip all those loose, you see that? All those loose ends. Okay, like that. I'm just going to clip it to give it a nice clean look. I was at a REM fair yesterday with a professed I guess a new age witch, or I don't know what they call, and he was buying sage wands, and he was going crazy for the wands, the wooden wands. Yeah, I make my own wooden wands. These are two that I made. Okay, I got it so you can't see it. These are wands that I actually made. They're very simple to make. I gather them in the spring. When the trees are nice and wet, the bark is, look at this one. This one has a nice spiral. Okay, I just like to make them, and I make them for friends, and I give them as gifts when I see a stick that would make a beautiful wand. I gather them, I peel the bark, I paint them, and I give them a nice gloss, and they're pretty much basically simple, nothing fancy. This one, I'm probably going to put a crystal at the end, but I tend to search for sticks or, sticks that have unique designs, and he went and bought a wand, and I think it's more magical, more powerful when you make your own wands and when you make your own smudging sticks. They don't have to be as beautiful as the mass-produced ones, but you're giving it your energy, you're giving it your power. So let me show you the wands together. Even if you don't use them in your traditions. Okay, and I gather this in May when it's rain season, and then when it's easy to peel the bark off, and then I cure it, and I gloss them and I paint them. But he bought, sage wands, and he bought a wooden wand, and I'm like, well, dude, why don't you just make your own? And he's like, well, that's a lot of work. That is the trabajo of a brujo. We tend to make our own we like to make our own, things. We know what we're placing into it. This is the bottom of the wand, okay, of the sage wand. You can see where the roots are, and this would be the top. Where's this one? This would be the bottom right here. And then this is the top. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim them up. Also, don't throw these away. Anything from your rosemary or sage that you couldn't put in your wand, sprinkle this around the house for purifying, for protection. You will get stuff all over the floor. That's also good. Sweep it up, cleanse the house, purify it. That means that the house needs to be purified, needs to be cleansed. But anything that's loose like this, leave it in the pot and sprinkle it around the house or around the home, or use it in a floor sweep. Use it in like a floor sweep, make a powder into it. Nothing gets thrown away. We save everything. So I just wanted to add to the video that, and anything from your sage that is dried, again, save it, light them up. This is good for purifying, for cleansing the home, so don't throw anything away. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut these up, get them to look a little bit more uniformed, and then I'm going to hang them to dry. All right, so with a scissor, I trimmed them up as best as I could, making sure not to get the string. I think I cut the string a little bit, but I can tie it up. But I try to cut any loose ends that I can until I'm satisfied. This one probably still needs a little bit more, okay? But, until you get what you want satisfied. What you want to do now is hang them over a window with the rope that you use to tie these. You want to hang them like this on a window where the sun will hit it and where it will dry it up. Remember to tie them up as nice and as tight as possible, because right now they have water, so they're moist, they're thick. But once they start drying out, they will turn a little bit thinner. Okay, so just make sure you tie it up as tightly as possible, and it depends on how much the humidity is in your area or how dry the air is that it will take for a wand to dry. A wand in the summer, of course, the dry air, it would take a week to, we're right now in October, so I'm assuming it's going to be like 2 weeks, but I'm going to hang them in the window and see how long it takes me here in New England to dry. And then I'm going to show you what they look like when they are completely dried. They don't have to look as beautiful or as uniformed as the ones in the stores. They can. Some people are very gifted at tying wands. Mine look like crazy tamales, but this is what I do. And I like it. You give your own energy, you give it your own power. So now I'm just gonna hang them up and dry them up and show you what they look like after they are dried up. So here they are hanging to dry, and I'm going to show you what they look like when they are dried. You can see I have rope here from other herbs that I've dried because I like to dry my herbs by my window. But here I'm going to set them to dry. I like to get them by an eastern window where the morning sun will hit it and where the most sun will hit it. The more sun that it hits it, it's better for it to dry. Right here I think I have yarrow. This is yarrow and it's for love. Okay, not burning it. It's more of like a little spiritual job that I did to promote love in the home. But anyways, this is what they look like wet. I'm gonna let them hang here until they completely dry, and then I'm gonna show you what they look like when they are dried. Wands are drying, my smudging wands. I want to show you the wooden wands that I made. A lot of people ask them if I can make them a wand as a gift. I like to. You need to know the magical and spiritual properties, or at least the magical properties of your wands when you're making a wand. Some that are good are hawthorn, cedar, birch, elm, maple. These I pick in the spring, when it's raining, and which is easier for me to peel the bark off. And then in the summertime, I paint them down, I tarnish them, and I give them a nice gloss. I like to hand make them. I like to find unique designs. And it's a beautiful quality. It's more unique than those ones that you find mass marketed. And it's nice. I make my own wands and have made my own staffs. So in spring, go into your woods and look for a tree, find out the magical properties of that tree, the spiritual properties, what magical qualities does it have, and make friends with that tree. Don't go chopping trees up. That's disrespectful. These I found actually on the ground. I found these on the ground. They were beautiful, and I said they would make beautiful wands. So this is why I took them. A lot of people like wands, and like I said, I was at a Renaissance fair, and a friend of mine who proclaims to be a witch, he was going to buy a wand, and I'm like, dude, why don't you make your own? The own tree, you're giving it your own energy. But modern witches like to purchase their own things. I like to make my own wands. So learn about the magical properties, the spiritual properties of the trees when you are choosing the stick for your wand. You can make them for yourself or as gifts for others. Sure that some of my followers will ask me, did I design these? Actually, no. Earth did. The elements did. This right here, this piece of branch, I found a vine growing around it, and I thought to myself that would make a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wand. And this one had these swirls, this natural swirls. So I thought, oh wow, that would make a nice wand, and beautiful wand, a beautiful design. I found them on the ground. I didn't pick them from a tree. This one has a natural point to it, which I thought was very beautiful. This one I'm going to add a quartz crystal with like leather, tie it up with leather. And I just do them for, as gifts for friends, So no, I didn't design this. Nature did. The elements did. This is just a natural vine growing on a stick. And look at that. That's a beautiful design. And again, learn your magical and spiritual properties of the wood that you're going to make your wand if you want to make your wand. It's cheaper. You're giving it your own energy and your own power than paying. You don't know who made those other wands, those factory wands. And they're nice gifts to give to people, especially to a little boy who enjoys Harry Potter in your family. house smells amazing right now. And while I'm waiting, I mean, it smells like fresh herbs. And while I'm waiting for those to dry out, and since I showed you some ones that I made, I want to show you some of the walking sticks that I've also made. This one right here, my godson made. And it's pretty small, but this is, I don't know why he colored it these colors, but I mean, look at the design on that. This is just a natural design that he found in the woods. So it's very beautiful, and he picked out those colors, and he went to Hawaii, and so I'm keeping it, you know, protecting it for him until he returns back from Hawaii. And I saw Giovanni Rosario, he made this. This one I also made. This is a pretty large staff, and it's around 5'8", and I picked it up in spring when it was raining. It was easy for me to, by my finger, remove all the bark, and then I varnished it, sorry, and then I sanded it down, and I gave it a nice dark gloss. You can buy your own walking stick, but I mean, it's nicer if you make it. Don't get nervous about making your own walking sticks. Let me see if this doesn't fall. I'm going to put this over here for a second because it's going to fall, and I don't want it to fall. So it's like, this is a big stick. This one is one that you would buy. This one was already mass marketed, and I saw it. It was like for $6. I saw it at a flea market, and I picked it up, and I just liked it. So I just thought it was really pretty. I like the horns. This one, my godson Giovanni picked up. We were walking in the woods, and when we came through this place where it was kind of dangerous, and I saw this stick, and you know, it had a vine growing around it. So I'm like, oh no, that looks like a little bit too dangerous to go gather. But he must have went back to that area, and he must have channeled his Cimarron spirit guide. Cimarron were the slaves who were fugitives in the Caribbean. Or liberators, but you know, it has this natural vine to it. I didn't peel it off because it just looked beautiful the way it is. So what I did is I took care of it as best as I could, and I gave it a nice little varnish just to keep it protected. Not varnish, that gloss to keep it protected so it doesn't rot anymore. But I mean, look at that. It looks like a snake winding up, and yes, he found it. So yes, he went back and he got it for me. So he must have channeled his Cimarron spirit guide or his Nitaino spirit guide to help him get it. Thankfully, I scolded him because that was very dangerous. I said, don't ever do that again. Never go into the woods by yourself to gather. You know, have someone to protect you, especially if they're dangerous to get. Sorry about my dog. She's going a little crazy. But these are just some of the walking sticks that I have made. This one my godson made. Sorry about my dogs. The mailman just got here. Now, because the New England weather is crazy, one day it's sunny, one day it's rainy. It's October. Right now we're in rain, and I always have a pot of water because I like a lot of humidity in the air, especially for my tropical plants and my herbs. My sage smudging sticks were taking forever to dry out. They've been there for almost 2 weeks and they're still wet. So I have them in the oven low. You can see right here on 250 degrees, and I keep turning them. And you can see it's still got that nice color, that green color, but they're drying out really good. And what I'm doing is I keep checking them every 10 minutes. I have it on 250, and I just keep turning them just to dry them up a little bit faster. Because of the humidity, these things will never dry up. So I'm just showing you how I'm baking them on 250, and I just keep turning them. They've been in here for like 15 minutes. Here are my sage ones, okay? And I cheated, I dried them out. But depending on the weather, if it's dry, the quicker it will dry up. We've been having a lot of rain, we've been having a lot of crazy weather. So it took a little longer for them to dry up. But I want to show you, and I just put them in the oven for like 20 minutes, just make sure that I kept turning them, and I had them on, 250? What you want to have is a receptacle to burn your sage wand, or you can use your sage wand. Here's the bottom right here, and here's the top, here's the front. Sage is good for purifying, for cleansing, for calming down a home or a location, something that you want to calm down. So what you want to do is you want to light your sage wand, and then you just want to give it a nice light. And then you want to blow it off, and that smoke right here will purify, will cleanse the area, cleanse the location. And it's good to really study on the herbs that you're using. You can use a white sage, rosemary, lavender. I have seen people use mugwort. Some people use an abalone shell. It's not gonna fit in this pot right here, okay? It's a little too small. But some people use an abalone shell. Some people, if you use an abalone shell, please put sand on the bottom, so that the shell doesn't get ruined and it collects the heat. And this is good for purifying, for cleansing. The aromas, it calms the nerves. It removes any psychic dirt in the home, any negative vibration. It burns pretty well. You can use pretty much the whole sage one. This one smells pretty good, pretty amazing. But it's very good, just for removing any psychic dirt, any negative vibration. You could pass it around a person. You can pass it around a home, around the home, outside. It just cleanses the aura, the auric field, it cleanses the auric field. So here it is. And I would just pass it around a person, or if I had an abalone shell, I would put the abalone shell and I would put sand, and I would use a feather, okay, just to direct my smoke. The sage wand would be similar to the use of tobacco in espiritismo and in traditions like that, such as sanse, but it's good for purifying. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. Please leave a comment. Please subscribe. This is Sancista Brujo Luis. I also want to add that when you're not using your sage wand, and if you're finished, you could just turn them off. But when you're not using your sage wand, this one's burning pretty good. When you're not using your sage wand, or when you're finished using your sage wand, you can turn it off and keep it in a dry area. Place it in a bag and keep it in a nice dry area, and you can use it over and over again for purifying, for cleansing, for removing negative vibrations. If you feel a little sad, a little depressed after work, you just want to cleanse yourself, you can just pass the sage and around your body. It's good for clients. If you have a client, you could sage a client. You can sage talismans, amulets, tarot cards, a car, a home, property, anything that you feel that needs to be purified or cleansed. And you can see that the rope that I used is holding pretty well. Okay, and when you're finished, you could just smudge it off and save it for future use. But please keep it in a dry, located area. If you use an abalone shell, please use a sand. Okay, and you could just turn it off like that, slowly. You see, and it does hold very well. This one's burning pretty good, so I'm really impressed. I'm very happy how it came out. And you can see how nicely it is purifying. And what I do is I take the smoke and I purify myself, purify the home with it. And it smells amazing. It smells very good. This is Sancista Brujo Luis, Santo Sanse. I hope you enjoyed. Please hit that like button and keep it, when you're not in use, keep it in a dry area, a dry location. Sancista Brujo Luis. Add to the video that whenever you got anything on the bottom, you could take a little stick of the herb, you can burn it up, and you can throw it into your pot, and this automatically will throw a smoke. And then you would take your receptacle, if you have an incense burner, and you can, like I said, pass it around the house to purify, to cleanse, to remove any negative vibrations. You can do this outside. Don't throw away those little, anything, save it. Save it all. We save it all, and you can just pass it like so. around the house or around a location, and it smells amazing. It smells pretty good.